Chess, one of the oldest games in the world. D&D, one of the games in the world. I wanted to make a chess-like game I could use for 5e, played in-world with a board, pieces, and lots of strategy, but with dice and plenty of luck in real life. So I came up with Horde, a game of strategy and deception where players maneuver their figures over a battlefield, all while defending their keep and attacking the opponents. I brought it to the table, one of my players gave it a go, and it was good. I don't know, we all had fun, but I couldn't help but feel something was missing. So in this video, I want to give you the rules of Horde, as well as some ways I think you could change it to better match what you want out of it. And then open it up for you in the comments to tell me how to make it even better. So without further ado, let's get started. Horde is a game for 2 players, each in possession of pieces carved to look like orcs or goblins. Much like in chess, different pieces can move in different ways and have their own strengths and abilities, but they're all aligned in a single goal: capture the other player's keep. Whoever does that, wins. Of course, that's not how you'll be playing in real life. Instead, each player will need 5 dice, a d4, d6, d8, d10, and d12. Every round, both players will take turns picking one of their dice to roll, and whoever gets the higher number wins a point. If you tie, roll again. Sounds simple. Because it is. But there are some wrinkles to it. First off, one player will always pick their dice first, and the other gets to respond to their decision. You can choose who starts however you want. Coin flip, d20 roll off, cage fight, but it switches each round. And here's sketch number 2. Once you've used the die, it's gone. You can't pick it again for the entire game. So sure, maybe your opponent goes with their d6 in round 1, so you choose your d12 to maximize your chances of winning. But if that roll comes up short, now you've lost a point and don't have access to your highest die. The first person to 3 points wins, so you'll never completely run out of dice to use, but if you aren't careful, you can end up stuck with your d4 in a pivotal final round, while your opponent has one of their better options left. Which dice you choose and win is a big part of the strategy here. But don't worry, it's not all about how good you are at the game, your character stats can play a big role too. In between every round, you choose to make one of 3 skill checks, representing your character's ability to bluff and strategize. The DC is 15, and you can pick either Investigation, to study the board and find the best path forward, Deception, for disguising your intentions from the enemy, or Insight, to try and figure out their strategy instead. If you succeed, you get advantage in the next round, rolling twice and taking the higher number, no matter which dice you pick. But you can't use the same skill 2 times in a row, so characters who are better balanced get an edge over those who have chosen to really max out a single stat. There's one more rule that adds some extra tactics to Horde, and that's the ability to fortify. After both players have chosen their dice, but before they roll for the round, whoever picks the smaller of the 2 can fortify, adding +3 to their result. For example, Dwarf chooses the d6 and Goblin goes with their d8, so Dwarf decides to fortify. Even though they roll a 4 and Goblin gets a 6, that bonus +3 takes them up to 7, winning the round. Sometimes playing defense pays off, but you can only do this once per game, so try not to waste it. Let's go through a quick game of Horde to see it all in action. Our players are Dwarf and Goblin, and after a quick coin flip, Goblin will be picking first. For round 1, they put up their d6, and Dwarf decides to also go with their d6. Both roll, and Goblin gets a 2, while Dwarf gets a 4. 1 point to the Mountain Man. Before the next round, they can pick a skill to help boost their odds of success. Goblin tries to roll Deception to fool Dwarf into thinking they're playing defensively, when really they're about to make a push for their keep. But they only get a 13, not high enough to pass the DC. Dwarf, on the other hand, rolls an 18 on their Insight, seeing right through Goblin's bluff, so they'll be rolling with advantage this turn. Round 2, and Dwarf chooses their d8. Goblin wants a win, so they take a risk and pick their d12. But since they have the smaller die, Dwarf will fortify this round, adding 3 to their roll. Goblin gets a 9, pretty good, but Dwarf is better. With their advantage and fortify bonus, a 3 and a 7 becomes a 10, and now they're up 2-0. Goblin's starting to sweat, not only because they're losing, but they're pretty much only good at deception. They have to pick a different skill this time, so he attempts to roll for investigation, but only gets the 4. Oh well. Dwarf tries for deception and rolls an 11. Neither succeeded, so it'll be straight rolls from both this time. Goblin's first, and they choose their d10. With a big lead, Dwarf decides to save their d12 for later, and go with their d4. They both roll, and somehow Goblin gets a 1. Meaning Dwarf's 2 is enough to take the round. And with 3 points, Dwarf is your winner. And that's Horde. Now that's all well and good, and I'm sure you could have a lot of fun playing the game that way. But something felt a little off about it when I used it at my table. Granted, we only played 1 game, so maybe I just need more reps, but I want to give you some suggestions for how you could mix it up or emphasize different aspects of the game to your liking. Before I do that though, I'm really excited to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, and a project I've personally been looking forward to for a long time now, the Scorched Basin, a brand new campaign setting from Homie and the Dude. Launching on Kickstarter today, the Scorched Basin is a fully fleshed out setting you can use for your TTRPG games, either for entire campaigns or just by dropping it into whatever world you already have going. Inspired by Mad Max and Dune, the Basin is a hellish landscape where decades after a meteor strikes scarred, or some might say scorched, miles of land and sea, rival factions now vie for control of the massive crater that was left in its wake. It is completely system agnostic, meaning no matter what your game of choice is, you can use it at the table. D&D, Daggerheart, Pirate Borg, that would be a weird choice, but I'm not here to crush your dreams. Whatever you play, you can use it. And it is chock full of content that your players will love. We're talking 5 factions for your party to fight or fall in love with, each with their own cultures, languages, and NPCs for them to meet. Tons of different environments to explore, like rolling sand dunes, shimmering salt flats, or towering rock formations. Flora and fauna that ranges from cute to deadly to extremely deadly, and they can see it all while blasting across the basin in bashers. There are entire vehicle rules designed for chaos and combat. They even made a unique magic system called the Current just for this book. You are getting a lot when you back the Scorched Basin. I've talked about one of their other successful Kickstarter projects on my channel before, The Wandering Tavern, which I adore. Horde is actually inspired by one of the games they made there. So when I say Homie and the Dude do good work, I mean it. They're a family-run publishing company who love this community. So much so, they've actually invited over 100 TTRPG creators to take part in the project by voicing various NPCs, including myself. I play a Kree-clad knight, protectors of one of the groups that live within the basin. So if hearing me do some voice acting doesn't sell you on this, I don't know what will. And that's without even mentioning the custom soundtrack, battle maps, alchemy system, real-life recipes. You can use it to make food, people. There is way too much good stuff for me to cram into this video. So truly, if this interests you at all, check out their Kickstarter page using my personal link in the description. That doesn't just help me out, it doesn't just help Homie and the Dude out, but really, you're helping yourself. Because by backing before the campaign ends on October 9th, you and your players will be getting access to this awesome setting, and all the adventures it'll lead to. Thanks again to Homie and the Dude for sponsoring this video, and letting me be a part of such a great project. They really are a company I love to work with, and I'm excited to see this Kickstarter soar. And now, let's get back to Horde. The first change I think you can make is to rolling in between rounds. In real life, being good at chess doesn't actually equate to intelligence, but this is D&D. So if you want to make being smart a big advantage, you can have investigation be the only skill you can use between rounds. Or maybe you like having things be varied, and in fact, you think they should never be able to repeat skills. You can add history to represent how much they've studied the game, and performance for keeping cool under pressure to the list of options, and then only allow them to choose each once. And of course, you could just do away with this mechanic altogether. It makes the game much more about the skill of the player and less their character, but sometimes that's what you're looking for. Up to you. Next is Fortify, a powerful option for swinging the game in your favor. When matches only last 5 rounds, and that's if one player doesn't win the whole thing first, having an ability that will almost guarantee you a win in certain situations is very strong. You could easily drop that bonus down to just +1 or 2, or get rid of it completely. The lower the boost, the more the game will emphasize choosing dice wisely and getting advantage on those rolls between rounds. But it also means that whoever picks first will have a significant disadvantage, since in a full game, they'll be forced to choose first 3 times, giving their opponent more chances to counter without the fear of allowing a boost to their result in return. Which brings me to my last suggestion. In chess, whichever player gets the white pieces goes first, meaning they always start with a slightly better chance of winning. But that doesn't mean Horde has to mimic this too. Instead, you can make things fairer while also cranking up the mind games. Instead of one player choosing first and the second person matching, you could have both players secretly pick their dice at the same time. Now it's completely up to chance who has the advantage, unless you can read your opponent and predict their every move. Could be fun, could be a crapshoot. Only way to know is to play. Those are a couple of ways you can modify Horde to better fit your table, but this is where I open the floor to all of you. Let me know how you think the game could be even better, how you'd up either the luck or skill involved, and of course, massive flaws in the whole thing I never even noticed. I'd really love to hear your suggestions in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leaving a like is always appreciated. If you want to see more, you should subscribe to the Bard's College. I make videos all about D&D, DMing, and everything in between, so there's more to come. But for now, good luck, and remember, crit your players.